The rain lashed against the windshield of Officer Daniel Harper's patrol car, each drop exploding like a tiny grenade in the pre-dawn gloom of Willow Creek. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the deserted streets of the small town, where the only signs of life were the flickering neon signs of closed shops. Beside him, Titan, his German Shepherd K9 partner, sat rigid in his custom compartment, ears twitching at the storm's fury. Daniel's hands tightened on the wheel as a call crackled through the radio, a break-in at Larson's Emporium, the town's beloved general store. His gut twisted. Larson's was the heart of Willow Creek, run by a man everyone adored. This wasn't just a crime. It felt personal. "Hold tight, Titan," Daniel muttered, flicking on the sirens. The car surged forward, tires hissing on wet asphalt. Titan's amber eyes gleamed in the rear VYEW mirror, alert and unyielding, as if he sensed something Daniel couldn't yet grasp. In their 4 years together, Titan had never been wrong, not once. From sniffing out a kilo of cocaine in a truck's hidden compartment to alerting on a fleeing suspect hiding in a barn, the dog's instincts were uncanny, almost supernatural. Tonight, those instincts were on edge, and Daniel felt the weight of it like a storm cloud of his own. The Emporium loomed ahead, its Victorian facade ghostly in the rain. Daniel parked, grabbed his flashlight, and opened Titan's door. The shepherd leaped out, shaking off the rain, his focus laser-sharp. The front door of the store hung ajar, its glass panel shattered. Daniel drew his sidearm, heart pounding, and signaled Titan to stay close. "Let's go, boy." "Easy." Inside, the store was a maze of shadows. Shelves stocked with canned goods, fishing gear, and homemade jams stood silent, the air thick with the scent of cedar and coffee. Daniel's beam swept the aisles, catching glints of metal and glass. Titan moved silently at his side, nose low, muscles taut. Then, without warning, the dog froze. A low, guttural growl rumbled from his chest, his gaze locked on the back of the store where a door led to the basement. Daniel's pulse quickened. Titan didn't growl at nothing. "Willow Creek PD," Daniel called, his voice steady despite the adrenaline. "Come out with your hands up." Silence answered, broken only by the distant drip of rain through the broken door. Titan's growl deepened, his body VY bratting with purpose. Daniel edged toward the basement door, his flashlight catching a faint chemical tang in the air, sharp, unnatural. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Daniel Harper, 36, had joined the Willow Creek Police Department a decade ago, seeking a quieter life after years in a city precinct where the chaos of crime never slept. Willow Creek, with its tree-lined streets and annual apple festival, seemed like the perfect escape. But quiet didn't mean simple, not with Titan by his side. The German Shepherd had been a game-changer from the moment they met at the K9 Training Academy. Sergeant Malone, a grizzled veteran, had warned him, "This one's special, Harper. He'll see things you won't. Trust him." Their bond was immediate, forged in grueling training sessions and cemented on the job. Titan could detect narcotics in quantities so minute they baffled lab techs. He could read a suspect's intentions in the subtlest shift of body language, a clenched fist, a nervous glance. Once, during a routine traffic stop, Titan had ignored the driver entirely, instead alerting on a locked toolbox in the truck bed. Inside, Daniel found a stash of methamphetamines the driver swore wasn't his. Titan didn't care about excuses. He cared about the truth. Now, as they stood before the basement door at Larson's Emporium, that truth felt closer and more dangerous than ever. Daniel tried the handle. Locked. Titan's nose worked furiously, his whine sharp and insistent. Daniel radioed for backup, his voice low. "This is Harper at Larson's. Possible suspect in the basement. Need assistance." "Copy," came the reply from dispatch. "Units en route. ETA 10 minutes. 10 minutes was an eternity in a situation like this. Daniel glanced at Titan, whose eyes hadn't left the door. "What do you smell, boy?" he whispered. The chemical odor was stronger now, biting at his sinuses. It wasn't cleaning supplies or paint too accurate, too precise. His mind raced. Larson's was owned by Henry Larson, a 45-year-old widower who'd inherited the store from his father. Henry was a town hero, sponsor of the Little League, donor to the food bank, always ready with a smile and a free coffee for cops on patrol. The idea of him being tied to anything sinister was laughable. Or was it? Daniel's flashlight caught a glint on the floor, a small key, half hidden under a display of fishing lures. He crouched, VYing it, and tested it in the basement lock. It clicked. Titan's ears shot forward, his body poised like a coiled spring. Daniel hesitated, weighing his options. Backup was coming, but Titan's urgency was undeniable. He made the call. "We're going in," he told the dog, as if Titan could reply. In a way, he already had. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. The chemical smell hit like a wave, now mixed with something metallic. Daniel's grip tightened on his gun as he descended, Titan at his heel. At the bottom, his flashlight swept across a scene that stopped him cold. This was no storage room. The basement had been transformed into a high-tech laboratory, its stainless steel tables lined with beakers, burners, and industrial mixers. Ventilation hoods hummed softly, pulling air through a sophisticated filtration system. Rows of chemical containers bore hazard labels: corrosive, flammable, toxic. In one corner, a stack of vacuum-sealed packages sat beside a digital scale, each bag stamped with a crimson scorpion logo. "Holy hell," Daniel breathed. Titan moved forward, nose to the ground, alerting at a section of wall that looked solid. Daniel followed, running his hand along the surface until he felt a seam. A hidden panel. He pried it open, revealing a safe embedded in the concrete. Inside were stacks of cash, a ledger, and a flash drive. Titan's growl returned, sharper now, as footsteps echoed from the main floor above. "Police! Hands where I can see them!" A voice barked. Backup had arrived. Daniel called up, "Harper in the basement. You need to see this." Detective Sarah Coleman, a 20-year veteran with a reputation for cracking impossible cases, descended the stairs, her expression shifting from skepticism to shock. "What in God's name is this?" she whispered, taking the lab. "This is pharmaceutical grade. We're talking major production." "Fentanyl?" Daniel asked, his voice tight. "Or worse," Sarah replied, eyeing the scorpion-stamped packages. "That logo's been tied to overdoses across 4 counties. 32 deaths in the last year." As the team secured the scene, Daniel's mind churned. Henry Larson, the man who handed out candy to kids at the 4th of July parade, was running a drug lab? It didn't add up. But Titan's alerts didn't lie. The dog had been fixated on Henry from the moment they'd entered the store earlier that week during routine patrol. Henry had greeted them warmly, offering Titan a treat, but the dog had refused, his body stiff, a low growl escaping his throat. Daniel had brushed it off. Maybe Titan was just tired. Now, he cursed himself for doubting his partner. The investigation exploded over the next 48 hours. Henry Larson was nowhere to be found, his apartment above the store empty, his car gone. The ledger from the safe detailed a distribution network stretching from Willow Creek to major cities on the East Coast. The flash drive contained encrypted file formulas, client lists, and communications with a figure known only as Ella Scorpion. The DEA descended on Willow Creek, setting up a command post in the town hall. Hazmat teams dismantled the lab, cataloging chemicals that could produce enough fentanyl-laced pills to kill thousands. Daniel and Titan worked tirelessly, the dog leading techs to additional hidden compartments in the basement. Behind one wall, they found a cache of prototype pills, new formulations designed to be undetectable by standard drug tests. A chilling note in the ledger referred to optimal addiction thresholds, suggesting Henry wasn't just manufacturing drugs. He was engineering addiction on a scale no one had seen before. Sarah, poring over Henry's financials, uncovered a web of money laundering. The store's renovations, new wiring, reinforced walls, a state-of-the-art ventilation system had been funded through shell companies linked to a Mexican cartel. Henry's father had run a clean business, but when Henry took over 3 years ago, he turned it into a front. The community's trust had been his greatest asset, shielding him from suspicion. "Think about it," Sarah said, tossing a file onto Daniel's desk. "Who'd question the guy who funds the town's Christmas lights? He was hiding in plain sight." Daniel nodded, stroking Titan's fur. The dog lay at his feet, exhausted but alert. Titan knew. That first day, he saw through the act. "Don't beat yourself up," Sarah said. "We all bought the nice guy routine. Except your dog." The break came on the third day. A tip for a neighboring town placed Henry at a remote cabin near Lake Arrow. Daniel, Sarah, and a tactical team moved in at dawn, Titan leading the way. The cabin was nestled in dense woods, its windows dark. As they approached, Titan's hackles rose, his nose twitching. Daniel signaled the team to spread out, his heart hammering. "Henry Larson," he shouted. "Willow Creek PD. Come out now." A shadow moved inside, followed by a crash. The team breached the door, and chaos erupted. Henry, wild-eyed and clutching a pistol, fired a shot that splintered the doorframe. Titan lunged, ignoring Daniel's command to hold, and tackled Henry to the floor, pinning his arm until the gun clattered free. Officers swarmed in, cuffing Henry as he screamed, "You don't know what you're doing. They'll kill me." "Who's they?" Sarah demanded, but Henry clammed up, his face pale with terror. At the station, Henry's high-priced lawyer Arvada, slick city attorney, who demanded his client's release, claiming the EVY Denke was circumstantial. But the ledger, the flash drive, and the lab were airtight. Henry's operation had produced pills linked to 47 overdoses, 19 fatal. The Scorpion logo tied him to Ella Scorpion, a cartel lieutenant who'd been dodging the DEA for years. As the case built, Daniel and Titan faced a new challenge: the community's disbelief. At a town hall meeting, residents grilled the police, unable to reconcile their image of Henry with the truth. "He helped my son with his science project," one woman cried. "How could he do this?" Daniel stood, Titan at his side. "I know it's hard," he said, "but the EVY Denke doesn't lie. Neither does Titan. He sensed what we couldn't because that's what he's trained to do." The room fell silent, the weight of his words sinking in. Titan, sensing the tension, pressed against Daniel's leg, his presence a quiet anchor. Weeks later, the case made national headlines. Henry pleaded guilty, facing life in prison. The raids on his distribution hubs netted 12 arrests and enough fentanyl to kill a small city. Ella Scorpion remained at large, but the DEA was closing in thanks to the data on Henry's flash drive. Willow Creek struggled to heal, its trust shattered, but the town rallied around Titan, dubbing him the Sentinel of Willow Creek. A local artist painted a mural of the shepherd on the town square, his amber eyes fierce and protective. One evening, as Daniel walked Titan through the park, a woman approached Ellen Hayes, whose daughter had died from a scorpion stamp pill. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. "Your dog saved lives," she said, kneeling to stroke Titan's fur. "He saw the monster no one else did." Daniel swallowed hard. "He's just doing his job, ma'am." Ellen shook her head, tears falling. "No, he's more than that. He's a hero." As they continued their walk, the setting sun cast long shadows across the grass. Daniel glanced at Titan, who trotted beside him, ears up, ready for whatever came next. "You knew, didn't you?" he murmured. "From the start." Titan's tail flicked, his gaze steady. Daniel smiled, the weight of the case lifting slightly. They made a difference not just in Willow Creek, but in countless lives they'd never know. And it all started with a dog who refused to be fooled by a perfect facade.